Hi, welcome to the Dink and Dish podcast. My name is Barbara Brodowski. I'm here with fitness icon and legend Tammy Lee Webb. We are two fitness experts and pickleball enthusiasts that just love the game and love fitness, and we want to tie those two things together. And if you leave here with one thing and one thing only, it is that
Dinking is not a warm-up.
It's not. My sister sent me a text on Saturday morning. We're going to play pickleball. She's like, "I'm over here warming up. I'm dinking."
I know. I was playing yesterday, and it's our early morning one on Sunday. And of course, I was already doing my little routine and warming up, and they all pull out their little bands. They put them on. They start doing their walking lunges, and I'm like, I'm so proud of you girls.
I'm over here warming up. I'm dinking. I'm like, these people getting on my last nerve. Hey, how was pickleball this week for you? What'd you do?
Well, pickleball this week is I got out there twice, and yeah, it was really good. I ran into some challenges, which I want to talk about. I want to ask you about because I don't play like you play more ladders and tournaments and stuff where I play just casual with my girls. And what I find is a lot of times they don't always want to follow the rules, or maybe they're not quite sure of the rules. So my question that came up, and that was actually yesterday, was keeping score. And as we know, pickleball, when you're first starting out, it's confusing, the scoring. It's like, what? Wait. Okay.
Did I serve that?
0, 1. And especially at this age, we forget. We get in a long rally. And it's like,
a long rally. It's like our brains have erased.
Who was serving that? And
right.
So what had happened...
wait. Even worse, even better though, is if I do a good shot, I think I should get the point. Like in my brain, I think, I should get the point for that. It's like, no, I just get the ball back maybe.
Yeah, because you weren't on the serving side. So what I had learned is if you start on the serving side, so that's typically the right side, correct? So you start on the right side, that the score when you serve on that side is always going to be even, correct?
If you score on that side, well, you
serve. So if I start the game and I start on this side, and I won the point, so now I'm over on this side, so it's 0-1.
Yep.
I mean,
so
1-0.
You're correct. So, yep. So you're even on the serving side. Yes.
Okay. So then we get another point. I come back to where I originally started. Correct.
Yep.
Now that's going to be 2. So now it's 2-0 serving. So no matter what it is, aren't I always, when I'm serving on that side, it should be an even score if I'm serving.
Yes. And that's how people keep track of it.
Yeah, that's how I was taught how you keep track of it.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday, the girl that started called out a number like, 9, 7. And I'm like, you can't be 9. You started there serving. So you have to be even number. So you're either on that side serving or it's your partner's serve. And it went back and forth. And finally I just said, oh, forget it. Just serve. But that's what happens in casual.
That sucks. Yeah.
But she did reach out to me later, and I found a little thing to show her.
Yeah.
No, this is what the rule is. So if you served and you started on that side, you're always going to be holding an even number.
You know what's funny about that is, and you play with people everyone I play with, there's always 1 or 2 people that are really good at the score and remember that. Yes. No, you started, you have to be even. Like you serve first. Like everyone, there's always 1 or 2 people, thank God, that keep track of that.
Some people don't want to.
I'm not the one.
Okay.
I'm not the one.
One of my best friends who plays, and she's the one that I call the ballerina. Okay. It doesn't matter what, every single time. Okay. What's the score? What's the score? She never
that's me.
knows what the score is. So we just automatically just tell her.
I'm not a numbers person.
We have, I love numbers. I love numerology. I love numbers. I love anything numbers. And then we have some other in our group that are really good. Like they're clear they know exactly what the score is. They call it out each time. And then others that don't even call it out, they just serve.
Oh, no. That would frustrate me because I am counting on them to tell me what the score is.
So they've got to say I don't return it. I just stop and go, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the score.
Right.
And
yeah, not saying the score is not, that's just not cool, because everyone needs to know the score. And who's
yes,
like, what are you, a one
because
or a
that helps
two?
you stay on
Yeah.
track.
Oh, it
Yeah.
helps me. It helps my fighting spirit too. If she's serving and she's saying 9-2, well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna play a little different. If it was,
Yeah.
she said 2-9, I'd be like,
Yeah.
it makes a big difference.
And
I
how was
played on,
yours?
I had so much fun. So I've been playing. Well, first we had crappy weather here.
And
It
you're in
rained one
California.
Saturday. So again, yeah, I'm down here.
Hmm.
It rained, and then this week it hailed on Friday. We
Yeah,
had
I heard
hail.
that.
What the heck is it? What the hail?
In
What the hail?
California?
In California, like I'm used to it in Texas,
Yeah.
but we had hail and it was just crappy. So I got together on Sunday with my sister. But the best part was my dad has 2 courts at his house, and it was Sunday. Everyone goes to church. I'm like, Dad, after church, can we rally a couple people? You have 2 courts. It's a beautiful day. We don't need to only play on, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays are so regimented, He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, let me see what I can do. He got like 10 people to come out. I was so happy. So, but I was telling you earlier, it's funny. Like the girls I play with, we come in groups of 4 or 8
To play.
We don't ever to play. We don't have 5 or 10 because there's
Yeah.
no one. We don't want to ever sit down. But my dad, he likes the social aspect. He'll sit a game out. Have fun that way. But the best part for me was on Sunday when I played. Is I was one of the weakest players there, hands down one of the weakest players. Oh,
Were
it was
they all
awesome.
boomers?
Yes. Yes.
Yay for the boomers.
Yes, they're boomers. All great players, and one's about one couple are my age, but mostly boomers. But I got off the court and I won a couple of games. This lady T and I won against 2 men, and I was so excited because we just out strategized them. We thought we just out strategized them. We would do things that we knew they weren't good at. Or not good at, that they weren't as proficient at. And so I won a couple of games. But when I left the court, I thanked the guys. I'm like, when I leave California, I feel like I'm a better pickleball player because I play with people that are above my level, and I have to level up. When I play with the ladies at my dad's house, I hit them out all the time. I'm out of sorts because I'm not going to hit it down their throat. I'm not going to give them tricky serves. I'm going to hit so they can hit it back because they want to hit. They just want to hit back and forth. So, but this one guy, Tommy, I mean, my dad has the nicest guys out there. There's never problems. They're so good. There's one guy that always calls dinner out wrong. And we all know that one person, but this guy, Tommy, he's so sweet. And he's the scorekeeper. Tommy always says, if I'm serving, he goes, okay, it's 2-4. You're a 2. Thanks, Tommy. Because the score just, because of my ADHD for sure. But I start to, it's a long play, I forget that I even serve the ball. And like I said earlier, if I make a good hit, I'm thinking I should get a point for that. So, but that's not how it works, obviously. No. So it was fun. I had a great time. And I'm so grateful that, I know I'm fun to play with for them too. I'm probably more entertaining, if nothing else. Because I'm way more animated than they are because I get so frustrated and I laugh and I make a big deal when I hit a good shot. But it's so fun because they're so much better than me that, I have to really level up to have a good time. So it was good pickleball. It was great. Was that your cat meowing?
Yes, that's Kitty Gaga. She's coming over for some hugs.
Good. Yeah. Well, listen, we're talking today about core. So our goal with this podcast is to kind of shoot the breeze with y'all, but then get to a topic that's affecting a lot of us in pickleball and injuries that we can probably prevent. And I'll tell you what, back injuries are the number one thing that I hear about in pickleball. I hurt my back. And it's funny because there's acute back pain, and then there's when a muscle is sore. Like if you work your butt, Miss Buns of Steel, when you work your butt is sore. When you work your back muscle, your back is sore, but people think my back is hurt. That's those strange. So I want to make sure people understand. I want to talk about, I'm talking about like when Tammy, there's probably a sore muscle too, because when you forward flex, you're not hurting your back, it's a sore muscle.
You're doing that a lot in pickleball because you're picking up balls.
But you're bending over. So let's talk about back, not only back pain, but like a back ache, like a sore back muscles, and even acute back, like when you hurt your back, which is different than just like a back ache. So tell us everything we need to know about how to not have it.
Let's back up and look at where the back is located, which is the backside of your torso. And in the front, we've got the abs, right? and we
Mhm.
got the chest. So I always try and think of muscle groups that complement each other. And one is typically stronger than the other. So
Mhm.
since you brought up back first, if you think about lower back, rectus spinae, lower back, and your abs,
Mhm.
right? Usually 9 times out of 10, people end up with back problems because they have weak abdominals.
Mhm.
They're weak abdominals.
Yep.
But if we're going to talk about core work, core
Mhm.
is everything of the whole spinal. Like I like to think of it as just eliminate your arms and your legs.
Mhm.
And even though I know it doesn't look like the butt is a part of the core, the butt and your core is your stabilizers. It's
Mm.
kind of like if they're not strong, it's like a house without a good foundation.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
eventually parts of it is going to crash.
Mhm.
And that's what happens is people with low back pain usually have weak abdominals. So they're bending
Mhm.
over. I mean, think about it. How many times a day do you bend over to tie your shoe, to pet the
Mhm.
dog, to pick up something? And then a bent over forward flexion with a rotation.
Mhm.
Now that's even pulling more on like one side. So I'll have a
Mhm.
client come and go, yeah, my low back on the right side is just jacked. Well, how many times a week this week have you played golf? The big swing. Did you warm up? Did
Yeah.
you, he's a golfer as opposed to the pickleball player. But so you've got to look at your body in means of, okay, here's my spine. I've got my abs and my low back. I have my chest and my upper back. So that's all in your
Mhm.
rhomboids. And we know that, we've got the shoulder there. But when we're talking about core, it is the stabilizer. They're stabilizer muscles and with your pelvis and your glutes, because they all kind of go
Yeah.
together, makes it even better. I always say there's one common thread with athletes. And when I watch the Olympics, which are coming up, right? Aren't they
Yeah, I
coming
think
up
so. I
this
think
year?
so. Mhm.
Yeah. So they have one common thread, all of them. Doesn't matter what their sport is, and that is strong core.
Mm.
They have to have a strong core in order to be at that level of performance,
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter even if you're, archery, you're pulling that back. You have to have, in order to pull this arm back, this
Mhm.
whole stabilizer's got to stabilize you to actually create that whole action. Same with the speed skater,
Oh,
bending
yeah.
over and
Oh.
pushing out. So you're in a flex or hinge position, and you've got to have that strong core to hold you up while your glutes, which I love working, those high glutes are pushing
Mhm.
outward. So the core is essential when it comes to overall movement. And we know the way that we keep going is we have to have movement,
Yep.
range of motion, movement, keeping our bodies going.
It's
Strong
funny
core.
because I never thought about that before, but sometimes when I'm done playing, my back, I have a little backache,
Mm-hmm.
and I always say a
Yeah.
backache, but it's no different than like if I did a lot of bicep curls, my bicep, I probably bend over to pick up that ball 500 times. I
Yes.
never thought about it.
Yes.
Now I always thought it was
And
running, like I always thought it was like running to the net, forward flexion, and running, so all the way to my torso. I thought it was that, but you're right. It's probably bending over, standing up, bending over,
it's
standing
bending
up.
over, picking up. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So
It's
that's something we need
constantly
to
bending
think
over.
about.
Mm-hmm.
Engaging the core, squeezing the glutes, even when you pick up the silly ball.
But that's why we're always advocating that if you warm up those glutes before
Mhm.
you get on the court, you're already in a better position
Mhm.
because you're warming up those glutes. They're activated. And
Mhm.
so when you go to bend over, it's not where you're not warmed up and you're like, oh, I bend
Yeah.
over. I have heard of people getting off on a long flight. Now, if you're on a on the airplane on a long flight, you're in that seated position,
Mhm.
flex position. And if you already have issues with that low back, and then all of a sudden you sneeze,
Oh,
big sneeze, you pull out your back
that's
because
wild.
you've been in that flex position. Your body hasn't been
Yeah.
in movement. And even though you're not bending over, it's just a certain movement. And then by just sneezing, or like I would always say in my group X classes, and we're old school with this. I
Mhm.
do a warm up at the beginning. I do a cool down and a stretch at the
Mhm.
end. And during the winter, even though we don't have winters, like some people here in California, is I'd always say, you guys, please make sure that you stretch. If you have to leave my class early, you must do a cool down stretch, because all it takes, if you've already construct your muscles and they've contracted, you go outside, you drop your keys to get in the car. I guess you don't need keys anymore to get in a car, but you drop your keys, you bend over. That's how you can injure yourself, because your muscles are constricting against that air, and they were already just warmed up. And then you get this air constriction and then bend over in a heat of moment to pick up the keys.
So what do you think about this? I've seen people play before with like a waistband tightening thing for their back, like a back support. I have an opinion on it, but
play pickleball with it?
Yeah, they like wrap something around their back to support their back. How do you feel about that?
Well, what comes to mind is this. I wear a support for my knee because I have got torn meniscus, and it just gives that extra support. So I don't know if that's what they're looking at, because in actual fact, if you've got something constricting, but you still got to bend over and pick up that ball, you're even working against something there.
Yeah. I remember like when I went to National Academy of Sports Medicine back in the day, like I said, it's like a 2-day thing in Chicago. And I'll never forget the guy talking about bodybuilders who would put that waistband around their waist to lift heavy weights. They're making their lower back actually weaker, because now that belt is doing. Now listen, if you're doing like powerlifting or something for the Olympics, but everyday training, you want to strengthen those muscles. So I'm just curious. I think she wears it because her back hurts. So my suggestion would be, why does your back hurt? Is it because the muscles are weaker? Well, then let's work on those. Let's work on the glutes. Let's work on the glutes, because probably her glutes are not that strong. Do hip extensions for your glutes. Do some core work, planks and stuff. I'm thinking, and then still wear it until you feel probably mentally more safe. But I think stuff like that, unless the doctor says you should have, like a knee brace is different, in my opinion. Like that's holding something together. Unless that back brace is holding you together.
That's why I'm saying, I don't know if it actually is, but most people want, just give me a pill to fix it.
Yeah.
So sometimes we think, well, my back hurts, so I'll wear this. Yeah. When in actual fact, they need to, like you said, strengthen their glutes. They need to strengthen their abs, which, by the way, let's even talk about the abs right now. So in your abdominals, you have the long one up on top, which is the 6-pack, the rectus abdominis, which, does the flexion. And that's the one that most people pay attention to. I want that 6-pack. And then on the sides, we have our internal and external obliques, and they help us with the rotation, lateral moves. And then we have underneath it. So if this is the rectus abdominis, and then this underneath it goes horizontal, is the transverse abdominis. So that's the muscle that when you go to put on a pair of pants and they don't quite fit, you got to pull it in. That's that transverse abdominis that pulls it in. Okay. Or you got to walk on stage and you're trying to have good posture and you pull everything in. That's the transverse abdominis. But they all work in conjunction with each other. And then in the back with the rectus spinae. So I always have people do, I call them like the cobras, where you're down and you extend up, do up and down maybe 10 times and then holding it. But if they have some back issues there, I take either a long rubber band, or you can take a long towel. You place it on the low part of your back, and you still put it like you're going to do the cobra. So you hold on it here and then press up against it, and it pushes it into the low back, the rectus spinae, and you arch up, and it's like a great stretch.
Yeah. And by the way, these exercises will be on our Instagram page at One Pickleball Prehab.
Yeah. We'll put those
videos up there and on our YouTube page. So if you're like, what is she talking about? Go there for resources. What do you think? So if you think about pickleball, it's a lot of forward flexion, a lot of torso rotation. And by the way, back in the day, it's like forward flexion and torso rotation are two things that's
big,
like
big wrong. Yeah.
Forward flexion and torso rotation
with rotation.
And I kept thinking, I've always been of the thought though, But that's something I would do in real
That's
life.
a function.
It's a
Yeah, that's a
function.
natural
Yeah,
function,
so tell us
right?
about that.
Yeah. Well, I think back in the days, what was happening, if you remember the old style of fitness, so we'd stand out like this, and then we would alternate touching
Okay,
our
Jack
toes
LaLanne.
like this.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So with that forward flexion rotation, especially at a speed, we were thinking more of here's your spine, your vertebrae, your spine, your vertebrae, and your spine, your vertebrae. And what is happening when you go forward, so you're tilting it, and with a rotation. Yes, we do need to do that. But if it's loaded or you're going fast, it's not for everybody.
Right.
But again, I mean, we do a lot of that in pickleball, but not consistently like this.
Right.
So one of my girlfriends, the ballerina again, I love her. Anyway, I also train her, and she said, I'm always feeling this discomfort on this side of my back. And I said, well, a lot of times she's very tall. She's 6 foot tall. She's beautiful. She got these long levers, long body. And so when she goes to stretch out, she literally stretches because she can stay in one spot, reach across and just nail it. But she reaches, and I said, you got to move your feet more.
Yeah.
You got to get there.
Yeah.
And that's what I find that people that are really tall, because she can stand in the middle of the court and pretty much just ding, 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 because she has these long levers. Where someone like us, I have to go very fast. I got to get there to get down, although we can get down to the ground. But so if there's a low ball and she's stretching out, now she's stretching, she's bending forward, and then she's going to do this big rotation.
Yep. She's covered a lot of space and time. Yeah, like she's
yes, she has a range of motion to cover. But so if it's not warmed up or you're overusing it, that's what can cause some of the issues.
Yeah. Some of my favorites. So you can talk about this too, but I know having a weight in your hand, like a 10-pound weight, and twisting and bringing the weight to your shoulder and then hammering it down. What are those called? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now.
Wood chops.
Wood chop. Thank you. I'm thinking it's lumberjacks. Like, I was in the right. Wood chops.
You were wood chops.
They're great, and those can be done with tubing. Yeah. So you don't even need to wait for those.
Yes.
All that's doing is training your spine. You're going to twist and release and twist, and you're going to build.
Did I put that?
You had some. I think you did. Yeah.
Don't I have that?
I think you. Well, you did ankle stuff for sure. But if not, we'll check it out. Those.
Oh, I think it's another one coming up. It's a rotation with the tubing. Yeah. So like you're swinging up. Yep. And so you're a bat, but we call it wood chop.
You're replicating a pickleball swing pretty much. I mean, if you did, you probably hit into the net. So not exactly. But the torso rotation and the tension, like you're going to build up some tension when you twist, and then you're going to release it. So the tubing helps with that. What else for the lower back? So I'm always go back to lower back because that feels like, I know we're talking about our core today, but it feels like the lower back.
So I would suggest the cat cows. So on all fours, rounding, arching, rounding, arching, just maybe like 4 or 5 of those. And then I would also suggest bird dog.
Oh yeah.
On one knee and extend the other. So that's stability. And then do bird dog with a rotation. So you're dropping one side, but you have to stabilize because you don't want to fall over. Yeah. I love the bird dog. And you can do these with stability balls. So you said like with a weight, we can do the rotation with the wood chop. You can also grab a stability ball, the big balls, and there's tons of things that you can do on that. You could do a bird dog on that. Sometimes I'll just have them hold the ball and extend out. What else did I have? I had stability ball. Oh, Bosu.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Bosu?
Yes.
Bosu is a good one. Get in on there. But yeah, there's so many, but we'll have them posted up on Pickleball Prehab.
Yeah, because when people say
coming up,
my back hurts, the first thing I think is, but if your bicep hurt, it's because your back,
it just got to work out.
You just got to, your back, it's scary to people because a lot of things happen in your spine and your back and back injuries. But sometimes when your back is sore, people think their back is hurt. But if your butt is sore, you don't say my butt is hurt. And I always try to stress that, like, is it the muscle? Because I know when I finish pickleball, I think my back is just sore and tired. I didn't hurt it.
Yeah.
Now I have hurt my back before, so I know what a hurt back feels like. I did hurt my back before.
And you will know the
there's a huge difference
between sore and hurt. When it hurts, you can barely breathe.
Exactly. And
you can barely walk.
You like hunch over in a little ball, like, cause you don't want to have gravity push anywhere, like on it in a lengthened position. You just want to like, just stay, like contract your core and stay small. So, but I do think, yes, you can hurt your back playing pickleball. Yes, you can. And that's what we're trying to prevent. And a sore back is also an indicator that something's happening. Like, why is my back sore? Like, why? And those are the questions.
Because you just picked up 100 pickleballs.
Exactly right. That's why. It's so funny because I never thought about that before. Duh. Duh. Well, this has been fun time, Millie. So we'll get these videos up on our Instagram page and on YouTube. And make sure you follow us on Instagram. Go ahead, ma'am.
We still have our trivia.
Oh, gosh. This is my favorite part.
Don't forget my trivia.
I talked about your no volley zone today when I played pickleball. I talked about that.
Yeah,
because the question was, someone asked the question, I hit the ball, the play was dead, and then I fell into the kitchen. I'm like, I think it's still done, because you could smash it down someone's throat in the kitchen, and if it's a dead ball and you're in the kitchen, you're in the kitchen. She's like, no, I fell into the kitchen. Yeah. I'm like, but you still entered the kitchen. You can't fall in the kitchen. So even though the ball was out and dead, you
well, no, if you had hit it and it was going to be a good point, it's going to be your point, but you fell in the kitchen, then it's not good.
Yep. So I said, it's a no volley zone. I learned that from Tammy Lee last week. Go ahead.
No volley zone. Okay. So the question is it true or false that the size of the holes in the ball and how many affect the speed and spin of the ball? Is that true or false?
I'm going to say that's true.
Yes, correct. It is true, because the smaller the holes and less holes, the faster it's going to be. So for instance, I say that right? Is it the Duraball?
Duramax?
Do you know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, it must be Duramax. So when they started, they had 56 holes.
Okay.
It's the Duramax 40, they call it now. So now it has 40 holes, and so they're less. And it usually the outdoor balls, I'll see more beginners using it. They're the bigger holes, not as many, and it's also louder.
Okay, and that's an indoor ball
when you're hitting them.
I think I've heard that
Well, we use them for outdoor, but I think either or. But they normally they say that the bigger the hole, and less is usually outdoor balls. And it slows down the speed and the spin.
Hey, I only know about the 40 holes in the ball because I watch way too much pickleball videos right now because my husband sends them to me. But there was a play last week, and I wish I knew their names. They're professional players, and they were mixed doubles. And the guy smashed the ball at the girl across the court, and she didn't hit it back, and they called ball deflation. So two things were funny. One, that the ball deflated, because how can the ball deflate? Because it has 40 holes.
The ball deflates.
Has 40 holes. Because that's the guy kept saying. Yeah. How can it deflate? It has 40 holes. But I guess the guy hit it back so hard, he bent the ball down. He bent the ball. So it like a flat tire. I think he bent it. So she got off the hook because he hit it so hard at her that they called it deflated the ball. So the guy, I wish I had a ball with me. The umpire's like, we have a deflated ball, and the commentator's like, how does that ball deflate? It has 40 holes. I'm like, oh, it has 40 holes. Now I know how many holes a pickleball has because I never considered that before. 40. Yeah, it was so funny. A deflated ball. So she got saved because he hit it hard at her. Like they don't show any mercy. Like they don't care.
Wow.
They don't care.
Because when you get hit by a ball, it leaves stings. A mark. And I don't know if this was true or not, but I came across where they're making pickleball cups for men.
Oh.
And we thought, of course, again, one of my funny girls says, "Well, we should have them for our
Mhm.
tatas, and we'll just cut off half of the ball and put them right there."
Good idea. Well, I was
And
I get yeah, I get my like, sports bras like from Lorna Jane. Like they have 3 pounds of
mhm.
padding. I'm like, you can't hurt with my Lorna Jane sports bra. Like you can't hurt a chick with
Yeah,
that.
it
Oh,
stings.
it's so
It
funny. Yeah, it does.
stings.
It
Yeah.
does hurt. I've been hit like I've never hit knock on wood, never hit in the face. One of my friends last week got hit in the mouth.
Yeah.
She got a big fat lip.
Oh,
Yeah. So it does hurt. And I always
wow.
say
Yeah, we've had
none of
some
us
of those.
I've hit plenty of people, but not on purpose because if I was that
No.
accurate, I'd hit it to the line or to your feet.
Right.
I would hit it if
Yeah.
I was that good, I'd be
Yeah.
hitting your feet or, the
Yeah.
corners.
We say that all the
Yeah.
time. Nobody intentionally means to do
No,
it, but
no.
it also, I think when you're not that
Mhm.
accurate, but yet you're
Mhm.
killing it, you might want
Yeah.
to reconsider,
Exactly.
especially who you're playing with. Yeah.
Let me play with today. She's from racquetball, and she would be such a better player if she wouldn't try to hit it so hard all the
So
time. Like
hard.
pull back. Like
Yeah.
this is not a game. I mean, when you play
Yeah.
with tennis players, like they bang from the back. But like it just don't hit so hard. And then when you get better, then hit it
Yeah.
harder. But just quit smacking the crap out of it because
Right.
you're hitting it
Macking it.
out every single time. You're hitting it out or into the net.
Yeah.
You're just not that accurate yet. So, and I love talking about stuff like
Yeah.
that because I always say it's all in my brain. I can't execute
Yep.
it well on any on any given day, but I know what it should be. But
Yeah.
I don't have it mastered by like I said, we're pickleball enthusiasts. I am not a pickleball expert. I mean, I just learned there's 40 holes in a pickleball. So, but I can tell you how to not get hurt playing pickleball.
Yeah, there
That's
you
what I'm good
go.
at. Yeah, you too. So, all right, this is fun, Tammy Lee. Do it again next week. Follow us on Instagram,
Yeah.
One Pickleball Prehab, and on our YouTube channel, and share this if you can, because we'd love to help more people because we see a need for this all around. Every pickleball court I go to, there's people that are out because of injuries, so we can help
Yeah.
you. All right, see you next week. Bye.
Well, thanks. Bye.